So it's your first time with a new puppy, huh? Or maybe it's just been a while since you've raised one. A lot of our students in my online program are in the same boat, so I'm glad you're here seeking some resources and some info. If the last time you had a dog was when you were a kid and had a family dog, well, a lot's changed in the training world since that time. We've actually learned a lot more about how dogs think and learn and how best to train them. I'm going to go over some old school techniques you might have heard about and tell you a better way to teach your dog to live in a human world. First, let's set some appropriate expectations. Now, you might have been preparing for this little pup for a while, but he hasn't been preparing for you. There's no way to communicate to him all that's going to change when he first comes to your home. This is all new to him, so it's important not to expect too much of him too soon. Sometimes training gets off on the wrong paw when humans try to advance too quickly. This can be confusing to the dog, and then he starts to not listen. Don't mistake your puppy's mobility for a more developed brain. Your puppy has the body of a toddler, but the brain of a newborn. It makes for a few tricky situations that have to be managed differently than you would manage kids. So doing your research with a professional in dog training is a great plan. When your puppy first comes home, he may not take treats right away. That's a sign that he's probably a little overwhelmed, nervous, or just maybe stressed and just overall unsure. And as long as he's pooping and peeing, it means he's getting something in that little body. Now, you're probably going to see his appetite perk up after about a few days, maybe even a week. When he first comes home, he's not really ready for any formal training games anyway, like teaching him how to sit or stay or walk on a leash. He's going to need some more time to settle in and also for brain development before he can really focus on your training. But he's still learning even if you're not doing formal training. During this first phase, I just want you to focus on rewarding him when he does things that you like. If he won't take treats or kibble, just give him a lot of praise and some petting, or use your excited tone of voice with your verbal reward like yes. He'll still get the idea that you love what he's doing and he'll offer more of it. Now, when you think he's ready to start a few fun and easy training games, I want you to make sure you set up the proper training environment. This means working with him in a quiet area without lots of distractions. Keep in mind that one of the biggest distractions for a dog is smell. So if your windows are open or you're cooking something in the crock pot, this might make it a little harder for him to focus. This is also why we don't recommend putting the crate in the laundry room. It could be like you trying to sleep in a perfume store. It's all a little too much. Now, when doing these training games, just make sure that it's the right time in his wake window. And that means he's probably woken up, gone potty, maybe had a little play to burn off some of that puppy energy, maybe had a little snack. Then it would be a good time to start working with him, when he can most likely focus a little bit better. And if your dog is comfortable with a leash and a collar or a harness, have those on for training sessions. And if he's not so comfortable with the tool yet, then you can work on desensitizing them more slowly. And for now, you can just do the training sessions without them. Start with some fun and easy games, such as the ones in the first few courses of our online program. Most puppies do great with games like Bump It, the name game, and the puppy pivot, which are the ones to start with. Now, you might be surprised at how short your puppy's attention span is. You might only get to train for a few minutes when he's new to your home. That's no problem. Try to time the session so that you end before he starts to struggle. Keep a log so you know how long to train the next time. Now, I always recommend ending training sessions with some play. Science tells us that dogs retain info better if the training ends with something fun. Now, your puppy is gonna sleep a lot when he's young, so he won't be awake for very long in between naps. Try to do a short training session during each wake window if you can. That's gonna help him sleep better too. And if you need a sample schedule for an 8-week-old puppy, you can find it in our new puppy starter kit. It's free, and you'll also get your first training game and some important info on puppy socialization. The link is below, or you can comment new puppy and we'll reply with the link. Now, you might have heard of some old school methods of dog training, like rubbing their nose in a potty accident or holding their mouth closed if they're biting. We do not recommend any method that uses fear, force, or intimidation to teach a dog. These include painful tools like prong collars, as well as irritating noises like bark collars or even the shaker can with pennies in it. Dogs learn best from positive methods, like teaching them what to do and then rewarding them time when they do it. Now, when dogs have a strong bond and a trust with their humans, they're going to be better learners and they're going to pay closer attention during training sessions and when you ask for a behavior. If learning's not enjoyable, not a lot of learning's going to take place. Old school training used to teach obedience, but dogs are not robots or military machines. They are sentient beings with their own likes and dislikes. The good news is that dogs are food motivated. So we can use food or other things they like to let them know we like what they have done. Dog trainers who are caught up on recent science and research into the canine brain teach based on a relationship, rewards, using proper learning pace and techniques that the dog actually enjoys. You might be tempted to sign up for some puppy classes at the big box pet supply store down the street. I wouldn't waste your money on that. I used to teach group classes for puppies, but now I actually don't recommend them. These classes, they're often distracting and overwhelming for young puppies. They often take place at the wrong time in a puppy's wake window, interrupting a nap or a mealtime, and the human is trying to learn from the instructor at the same time trying to look at their puppy, and they're probably distracted by other puppies in the class. The puppy is usually overwhelmed with all the other dogs and the bright lights and the smells and the unfamiliar noises like shopping carts and cash registers. Now, I created an online training program to avoid all those downsides, so you can teach in the comfort of your own home. You can watch the videos as many times as you need to and then rewatch them once you started training, and then you need to check on any details or mechanics. You're going to build a stronger bond with your puppy if you're both relaxed and enjoy the training session. Don't take just my word for it. Ask all these cuties who are enrolled. All right, in order to prepare you for training, I want to review a few important mechanics with you. Now, mechanics refer to some of the smaller details in dog training, such as when to use your verbal cue, like sit or down, where to place your hand so your dog understands how to follow the lure. It also refers to the subtle movements, timing, and changes that can affect the outcome of your training. You'll want to be very careful not to ask your dog to do something if he hasn't been taught. Now, when we first teach a skill, we use a lure to get the dog into positions, like luring them into the sit or the down. And then with some practice reps, we can eventually call it a word after the dog is doing the skill consistently with the lure and the hand signals. Using the verbal cue too early is a common mistake that new puppy owners make, and then they often have to pick a new word for the skill if the dog has learned it incorrectly. Now, in my online course, I actually guide you on how to know when it's time to introduce the verbal cue. The timing of when you give the reward is also really important, which is why we don't really recommend clicker training for the average new puppy owner. Managing the timing of the clicker at just the right moment and then following it up quickly with a treat can often make it harder than it needs to be. Clickers can come later, once you really have a handle on the puppy training and mechanics. For now, you can just use what we call a marker word. This is the verbal you'll use to let your puppy know what they just did was great. I use the word yes to mark my behaviors. When training a new puppy, I just want you to cue the behavior either with your hand signal or your word if he's ready, then quickly say yes to mark the right behavior, followed by an immediate treat as a reward. Yes. Yes. Sometimes training doesn't go as planned though. After all, you are training a member of a different species using a language that is not one they were born understanding. Sometimes we have to make adjustments based on how the dog is doing. We do go over all of that in our program, with troubleshooting videos with common challenges and a section in the workbook on what to do if training isn't going as planned. We also provide a sample schedule outlining the best time to train and a lesson in canine communication so you can better understand the signals your puppy's giving off. Now, I can't teach you everything you need to know in this 10-minute YouTube video, but I can teach you a lot more in the 130 videos in our training program. Now, the other common pitfall I want you to watch out for is what we call early puppy compliance. This means that when your puppy is young, he'll probably seem very compliant. He'll likely seem to come when you call him, and he'll probably seem to respond to his name or your voice. And he might even be starting to sit when he comes near you. This is all great behavior that we like, so we want to reward it. However, Don't mistake this early puppy compliance for a full understanding of the skill. At this point, a lot of humans think the puppy is trained and then they start to slack off on training and practicing the games and skills. What's really happening is your tones and your body posture are very interesting to a dog that hasn't yet been distracted with the world around them. When your puppy gets a little older and starts to get more interested and distracted by the world, we see these skills falter if they haven't been practiced enough. Now, it's hard to reteach it if you haven't kept up on the practicing. So be sure to keep practicing those skills, even if you think your puppy has mastered them. Until he's doing them consistently at 7 or 8 months old, after adolescence and teething has taken hold, he probably doesn't know them like you think he does. And if he can't do the skill in all environments, including outside or in busy areas, then he doesn't know them fully. Now, the training games shouldn't be a chore. They're a great way to help your puppy release some of the mental energy and problem solving that's good for him. So by doing training every day, you're gonna actually help your puppy settle better when it's nighttime or nap time. And that's another old school way of thinking too, that you have to tire out your dog physically in order for him to sleep. Sure, physical exercise is good for puppies, but you might be surprised at what else is better for them, or at least equally good. I share the answers in this video all about how to tire out a puppy in 7 tips. I'll leave you with this video to watch next to best explain what we mean and how to sufficiently tire out your puppy so both you and your puppy get some sleep. Now, I hope you're feeling a little bit more ready for your new puppy. I know that was a lot of information to take in, but puppy training does require some research and studying so you use the right methods for a lifelong bond and relationship with your dog. If you have any questions, you can check out some of my other videos on our channel. Of course, we have our online course, or you can just pop a question in the comments and we'll point you to another awesome resource that can help you. This is Michele Lennon and the How to Train a Dream Dog team signing off for now.